Synthe has finally figured out the best way to use the Apprentice Warden in Clash of Clans. He uses it with the Super Barch attack, and by bringing it with his main hero push, he adds an extra 9,000 hit points to his troops, simply with the Apprentice Warden. So far, no one's really found the perfect army to use the Apprentice Warden with. That's because often you're just better off using the Grand Warden because he has the Eternal Tome. But in today's video, you're going to watch Synthe. He's figured out the perfect army to maximize this, and it is the Super Barch attack or Super Archer clone with Super Barbs to finish up the base. Whatever you prefer, I like Super Barch. It's got quite a nice ring to it. But anyways, Super Archer Blimp is coming in here. We're not really going to focus on this much today. Obviously, we will play it and you will see it, but it won't be the focus of this video. If you want to see a Super Archer Clone Blimp video, we've got dozens of them post-update. I'll link them above me, one after another, and you can pick some of them to watch. But what I really want to talk about is why this is the perfect army for the Apprentice Warden. And if you've never watched Super Barch before, essentially what happens is you take out, the entire core of the base with your blimp, and then it's the job of the heroes to take out literally the entire base, but you're going to use the Super Barbs that you have in your army comp to funnel out the sides, as you see here, and even tank some of the DPS. Look at this Grand Warden on the corner here. Was not shooting at the heroes until the last couple of seconds. And then if you look, he's hidden there. You see the aura of the Apprentice Warden. And I'm actually going to read you out a few figures here to give you an idea of how strong the Apprentice Warden is with this Sui. By the way, notice that the Multi-Inferno is a real problem for the Apprentice Warden because the Multi-Inferno can hit the Apprentice Warden from range, same as the Poison Tower. But the Barb King, for instance, if you include the health recovery from his ability, has an extra 5,415 hit points if he's in range of the Apprentice Warden the entire time. Now, you'll notice at times he goes outside the range because generally the Apprentice Warden will follow the E-Titan. Unfortunately, our Apprentice Warden will go down here, but it follows the E-Titan because the E-Titan is 32 troop space, whereas the heroes are only looked at by Warden AI as 25. But yeah, 5,400 extra hit points for the King. For a Titan, it's an extra 2,460 hit points. Now, for the Royal Champion, I didn't include the health recovery, which I should have, but it's about 1,500 including the health recovery, and then, or maybe even more actually, and the Archer Queen's about 1,300. So, if you put all those troops together, it's about a 10,000 hit point increase. Now, the RC often won't go with the Apprentice Warden, so you can discount that. But with the Barb King, Queen, and the Titan always going with the Apprentice Warden, it's about an extra 9,000 hit points for only 20 troop space. Here is Star's base, and one thing I didn't talk about in the first attack is the spell composition. Synthe is bringing a freeze spell. And this right here, and more importantly, the box spaces you'll see later in the video, show why bringing the freeze spell is worth dropping an invis. Because Synthe here, right, he knows that the base does not want you to land right here. So it's got not only one, but two sweepers protecting this area. Because no Super Archer player brings a freeze. So the base is not baiting it, just hoping that the sweepers are enough of a deterrent. But because Synthe has the freeze, he can land this Super Archer Blimp wherever he wants. And it means he's just less likely to get baited because there's more options for him when he's coming in. So really nice value there, but you'll see he gets even more value on the box spaces later. Yet again, Titan, King, Queen, Apprentice Warden, all together, around 9,000 extra hit points. Pretty crazy to think about. And yes, the Apprentice Warden won't be in range all the time, and yes, the Apprentice Warden actually doesn't survive most of the attacks, but still, it will be a lot of extra hit points, more than you would get from 4 extra Super Barbs, certainly. So the Apprentice Warden, yet again, following where the Titan is going. Unfortunately, not following the King here, but that's alright. The King had already got most of his value. And we are just chilling. I mean, look, we're just doing a lap of the base, exact same as you saw the last attack. You use your main heroes to go through the core, and then the Super Barbs and the RC to help out where necessary. And we're just enveloping this base here, and it is done. So really nice there. You've seen the value of the freeze and the value of the Apprentice Warden, and that's just on the ring bases, obviously. Perfect style of base for this army. Let's get into some box bases, which is actually an even better style of base for this army. Now, this is kind of an anti-2 version of a box. Like, it's a mix of the two, but still, we'll see the value here that's gotten by freezing. Because if he did not freeze that sweeper definitely would have hit the blimp at least once. But because of that, we're able to get the blimp so far into the core. And if this isn't a sign enough why you shouldn't put the town hall in the center of the base on a box, I don't know what is. Like, that the whole strength of a box base comes from the town hall being close to the outside. Not quite on the outside, but at least close to it. Because look at this value here from Synthe. 5 invis, and we've gutted the entire core of the base. So this attack, you'll probably see a bit more of the value of bringing the freeze with the blimp rather than the value of the Apprentice Warden. But the Apprentice Warden will live for a long time here because look, yes, there is the scatter, which can occasionally splash onto the Apprentice Warden, but there's no multi-inferno, none of that. And the multi-inferno is really the biggest problem for the Apprentice Warden because, yeah, it can outrange it. So look, we're just going in nicely here. Oh, the Apprentice Warden's just exactly where we want him. Just giving all the extra life aura to the other troops. And it's just super nice. Now, if you didn't use your Warden ability for a blimp, I don't know what you would do. I still think you'd send the Apprentice Warden with your heroes. Or maybe you'd send it with your RC, up to you. You will see him later send the Apprentice Warden with an RC. But 9 times out of 10, or even more, like 9.5 times out of 10, you will be using the Grand Warden with the blimp. Because the Super Barbs don't really need the Warden ability when it comes to this army. Whereas some of the time with Super Archer, Clone Blimp, Lalo, you'll see Sarwan not use the Warden because bringing the Warden with the Lalo is actually really strong. Now, why you don't see the Apprentice Warden with that army is because, well, the Apprentice Warden's a ground troop and Lalo is air. Like, yes, you could still use it with the heroes and you definitely get some value, but the Apprentice Warden definitely gets more value with a ground army like this. Now, I didn't even see when the Apprentice Warden went, but it doesn't really matter if he goes down by the time the base is tripled anyway. He's already put in the hard work and already gotten the value. This right here is an even better example of the value of the freeze. I mean, look at this. By the way, he times this freeze literally perfectly, but look at this, right? If he goes straight into this blimp, into this sweeper, sorry, even with the Warden ability, he's probably getting as far as the sweeper. But look at how far, with the help of the freeze, he's able to get this. So he pops the freeze at the perfect time, and look at this. The blimp just misses. Just barely misses. So he had to time that perfectly. But look at where he's landed this now. Absolutely crazy. And now he's going to work with, obviously, pulling the CC out with the help of the Archer. And the Super Archer Clone Blimp's going to do its thing. Now, admittedly, he does not get the Town Hall here. He didn't really clone the Super Archers in the best spot, unfortunately, for Synthe here. But can't complain about the value. Still really nice. But we're going to need a bit extra HP to take down the Town Hall here. But it's not going to happen in quite the way you imagine it. So look at this, we've got the Warden, we're pulling the CC. Now, I believe Synthe wants this Warden to come over to the Queen, but the Warden is actually just going on his own merry way. Just has no interest in helping out the Queen. Classic Warden thing. But yeah, look at this. So the Monolith is over here. He's got the Warden over here, and what he's going to do is really smart. Because he's decided he only needs the King and Queen to get the Town Hall. So we send some Super Barbs in, they pull a bunch of ground traps. Giant Bomb with the help of the Warden, or it doesn't quite take them down. Titan just needs to get in there. Took its time, kept retargeting, unfortunately. And then look at this. So our Warden goes down, and there's just a Titan there. So we use the Apprentice Warden to give our Titan some extra HP, but also to help out our Royal Champion here. You see the Queen on the top side is getting the Town Hall. I believe that's an Ice Golem freeze there. And it's just up to the RC with the Apprentice Warden to take out the rest of the base. And you can't discount the damage the Apprentice Warden does either. Now, unfortunately, the Apprentice Warden is no longer following our RC as there's a clump of Super Barbs together, just kind of going back and forth. But it's really handy. This Apprentice Warden cannot get sprung. It's 20 troop space. Spring only gets up to 18. And that's why you know, yes, 20 troop space is a lot, but it does allow it to not be sprung, and we do get the triple on that one, showing a bit of flexibility with the Apprentice Warden here, showing it used with the RC, and it's really strong. Here is a diamond base. Had to put a diamond base in this video. Now, I feel like I was meant to talk about the Apprentice Warden a lot this video, and I definitely have, but this video is equally about the freeze, because have a look at this. Pop the Warden ability there. With the help of the freeze, the blimp just doesn't make it through, but enough that it doesn't really matter. And I mean, look at this. These people are not protecting against this as much as they used to. And yeah, this base is in trouble. So I'm not going to detract from it, right? The reason this army is as strong as it is isn't because of the Apprentice Warden, right? But the Apprentice Warden enhances an army. I think that's the point of it, right? I don't think the Apprentice Warden on any attack is going to take it from being like an average attack to the best meta attack in the game. But what it is going to do is take an army that was already extremely strong and make it even more powerful and even more reliable as well. Like, it just seems like a troop that can just safeguard a lot of your entries and keep your heroes alive for that bit longer. So we pull the CC out. Obviously, we got the tunnel down, which is just bonkers. Genuinely crazy from Synthe here. Really nicely done. And yet again, we got the heroes and the Apprentice Warden with the Titan, and that's just going to be feeding all the extra HP in the world that you could possibly need. Nice double wall break here because it's going to hit the corner. Oh, it didn't. Unlucky. But it's already open anyway. Apprentice Warden right there. We've got the Super Barch on the flank. Keep in mind, I believe he's got like 30. Is it? I believe it's 30. We'll have a look at the end of... Oh, it's definitely about 30 because he's got 23 left and I see at least 5 on the battlefield. So, yes, you know, 20 troop space is a lot for the Apprentice Warden, but 30 Super Barch is enough. It's not like if you bring 34 of them, you'll notice a massive difference. Whereas with this Apprentice Warden, you definitely can. You definitely can. Now, I don't know what the Apprentice Warden's doing here. I guess it's following the Titan yet again. Our King gets kind of wrecked. So you're never going to get, or very rarely will you get the full 5,000 extra HP from the Apprentice Warden. But you'll get a couple of thousand hit points, and that's pretty substantial. And I mean, look at this. We're just pushing through. There was a Rage Tower in that section of the base. There was a whole lot of DPS, but just doesn't go down. Unfortunately, the Apprentice Warden has gone down at this stage, but he's already put in the work we needed, right? Everything that we could have asked has been done. We've got the RC abilities to still take out the back end, and this is crushed. But if you think this is crushed, have a look at the swag he does in the next attack. A teaser base here. Obviously, teaser bases are kind of perfect for super archer attacks because as long as you land the blimp safely, you know you're getting insane value. Even better here, we can freeze that sweeper just as the blimp was entering its range, and you know what that means. GG. I mean, look at this. It's just the perfect point of the base to land it. And he's not really losing out as much as you would think by taking out an invis, because he's doing the double clone, right? Watch a Sarwan attack when he does it. He'll often place 2 invis before he... and then put his double clone down, and then the third invis almost straight after. Whereas Synthe's putting down 1, then almost immediately after, once it's safe, he puts the second and double clone immediately, rather than like a slight hesitation. So he isn't losing out as much because of the double clone as you think. Now, if you bring the single clone and 2 rages, you would probably lose out a bit more, because the strength of that comes from the 7 invis and the double rage, but you know, each to their own. You can definitely trial taking off 1 invis. Now have a look at that Ice Golem. Ice Golems to negate multi-infernos are incredibly important now, because you don't want that Apprentice Warden taking any damage. Look at that, he's lost a little bit of health here, but still, he's got like 2,000 hit points or something, so it's not like he's completely weak. Queen's gonna go her own separate way, which is unfortunate, but Apprentice Warden is going to be following our troops. Now, he can't keep up with like the King in his ability entirely, but he's doing a pretty good job of it here. Yeah, that cannon, that was mean from the cannon. That's mean from both cannons, but look at how long it took 2 cannons to take out the Apprentice Warden. So he does have some HP, but not enough. Not enough for him to be consistently good in every style of attack. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if you've tried out the Apprentice Warden, what you think of it. Do you think it's strong, weak, does it need a buff or a nerf? I think there's just not enough armies that it's useful for, but this army right here is the perfect army for it. Makes sense, you're always using the Warden at the start. By the way, 20 swag super bubs to finish the video. Best, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I think this channel right here is the best channel in the world to see Super Archer Clone Blimp action.